As I've been studying and learning more about how to actually weave, I'm also getting to know the loom itself a little bit better and what everything is for. And I've been making a couple upgrades or improvements or just doing some maintenance as I go and as I learn new things. So let me show you a couple things. First up, I added some lights. Very important to have good light on your work, and I love these lamps. They're just very good to have focused light, and I put one on either side so you don't have shadows blocking your view too much. So that's a big upgrade. I'm very happy with that one. Now, of course, I didn't actually drill holes or anything in this beautiful wood of the loom. I want to keep it as intact as I possibly can. So what I've done is, these are lamps that have this little stick on the end that slots into a hole. So I have a little block of wood here with the hole that holds the lamp, and then I just used a clamp to clamp it onto the frame. So that way I can take them off, put them on, move them around as much as I want. Another thing I've done is I've spent a couple evenings counting and sorting the heddles. The heddles are the things that are here on the shafts. I've made little bundles of them now, but each individual heddle is going to hold one thread when you're weaving, and so that's going to control which go up and down. I first of all just wanted to know how many I had because the amount of heddles you have is basically the amount of thread you can put on, so I wanted to know that. I have just over 1200, which is a good number, but also they were just very dusty. So I just wanted to clean them out a little bit, which I did as I went. That was a good process to go through. Also I have string heddles, which are hand tied, which means I can actually just make more if I need more. But for now I think I'm good with the amount that I have, but it's good to know that I can make basically as many as I want to match. I'm definitely learning why this loom comes apart so easily, why so many of the beams just sort of slot in, because you keep removing them for extra access. Then I have been looking at the tie-up, which is all of these pedals and cross parts here that control how the shafts get lifted when you press the pedals. There's a very clever rope system that's being used here, and that's why I didn't want to take all of that fully apart when I bought the loom. If you remember, if you saw that video, I just sort of tied all of this into a big bundle and then had to sort out all the ropes. Basically, I didn't want to take it apart so I could study it and see how it was actually put together. And it's a very clever system. The thing is, this thread is very old. It's been used a lot. The loom is 45 years old, so probably this thread is 45 years old. It's gotten very dusty. It's sort of disintegrating a little bit. If I touch it, you see the dust clouds coming off of it. So I want to replace it. And thankfully the loom came with a whole bunch of extra string, just like this. So I've studied it very well so that I know how it's done. I've reproduced already some of the knots and everything. They're very specific knots. And you can see the knot here. It's actually very clever. So there's a loop coming up through here, and that's been looped around this one. So this has open ends coming down. This loops around it, and then this is just a half knot. And then this will pull down on that, keeping it tight, and make the connection. So it's very easy to adjust the height and balance everything out, because you can just slide this one up, increase the height of that one a little bit, and you've adjusted the knot. So it's a very clever system. But as you can see, this rope is sort of falling apart. You can see all the dust from previous threads that I've pulled through. So I'm just going to undo this one, let it slide off, and then I can pull it out and replace it. And I'm going to do the same for all of these. I'm going to replace all of them. Alright, that's all of the string gone. I've just left one example for myself to see how it actually goes back together, which will probably come in helpful. I've also kept one piece of each so I can measure how long it was and recut it and copy it basically. So I'm going to go do that, and then I can start stringing it back up. Alright, I have the top ones recut so I can put them into place. It's a good thing I'm changing everything out, by the way, because even just trying to undo the knots, some of these ropes just snapped. So it's good to have fresh ones. Now, they have come up with an upgrade for this type of loom rigging. It's a special kind of thread with holes in it that you can set at certain intervals. It's very nice, it's lovely, but it's also expensive. And it's not something I can afford right now. So since I have all of the new rope that came with the loom, I have plenty of that. And I also find it quite interesting to learn how the system worked before we have this fancy system. I'm just going to keep it like this, and maybe in the future, if I do have extra cash, I might switch to this more modern system. But I'm actually really impressed with how clever the tie-up in these ropes is. Like, again, you can see this is a thousands and thousands of year old craft. People have thought this through, and it actually does work well with the old system. So I'm going to keep it old school for now. Now these knots are really quite particular, so I wanted to show you how they work. So I have two ends here that are equal. Then I'm going to make a loop and pull them through, but I'm not going to pull them all the way through like this. I'm going to make another loop inside there. It's a bit hard to describe. I hope I can show you clearly. So I'm going to make this first loop, and I'm going to pull the ends in a little extra loop like this, and that's what I'm gonna pull tight, like this. So it's just a normal loop knot, but then with an extra loop here pulled through. And this is actually a very old knot, and it's really specific for weaving. I even found pictures of this in my old weaving book. And the idea is that you make something that has a lot of volume here, so that when you pull it through the hole, it really has a lot to grab onto, and it's not gonna slip through the hole when you put force onto it. So there you go. I'm gonna have to make a lot of these. Let's go. Everything up here has been replaced. Now I just need to do the bottom part. I've already measured all the old strings that I took out, I've cut them, and I've done all of the knots in them already. So hopefully now it's fairly smooth. I can just string everything through, connect it together, and have it ready. Let's see. Alright. It seems that these holes are slightly smaller than the ones up there, so the rope doesn't really like going through there with a fold in it. I'm going to see if I can find something that will help me thread them through. But there's not a lot of room there for an extra tool to go through as well, so let's see what I can find. It's a good thing I like so many crafts. This tool is going to do the trick. It's meant for repairing knitwear. It's a latch hook. But it's small enough, with low enough profile, that's going to fit through the hook together with the string. Yay! Alright. This is the part that's always going to stay the same. So what's happening here now, that these lower lambs, I've got the book now, they're called lambs. The lower lambs are going to pull a frame up if you pull on this thread. So each of these have a frame attached, and if you pull these down, it's going to go up. The upper lambs are directly attached to the shafts here. So if you pull one of these down, the whole thing is going to come down. So then the pattern you want to make, you attach the treadles to the lower lambs for where you want it to go up, and then the upper lambs for where you want it to go down. So you always attach them to both of these, just in a combination of which one should go up and which one should go down. All right, I'm learning. Alright, so for 4 shafts and 6 treadles, that's all of these I need, and they can stay put even if I change the arrangement. I just have to undo them and retie them, and that's the next step, is to tie those up. So I'm going to start with a 2x2 twill on these treadles, and then I'll put a plain weave on these two. If that doesn't mean anything to you, we'll get there. But I want to be doing a lot of twills, so that's what I'm going to do. And plain weave is also always a good basic. So that's the very basic one up, one down, one up, one down weave pattern. So I'll put those on these two. So what that means for the first treadle, I want shaft 1 and 2 to be up. Now up was the lower lambs. So for this one, 1 and 2 of the lower lambs need to be attached. And I'll start by doing the programming. I'll do the tying later. So for shaft 1, I want 1 and 2 of the lower lambs. Then for treadle 2, I want 2 and 3. 3, 4. And then 4 and 1. So there's always 2 warp threads next to each other that are being lifted. Alright, so I'm going to tie those up. Alright, so these 4 are now attached to the lower lambs, which raise the shafts. But then the other ones are going to have to lower. So I'm going to do the opposite pattern to tie the same treadles to the upper lambs, which lower the shafts. Still with me? Okay, that should be my 2x2 twill. I'm actually quite excited about this. It's starting to feel real now. Okay, cool. I also wanted my plain weave, so that should be a much simpler one, just 2 treadles. Yeah, let's get that one in as well. Alright, I think this should be it. Let's see if it works. Okay, it's not a mess. I must have done something right. They're slightly off balance, though. That's very minimal. Okay, I'm very happy with this. Let's try some of the treadles, shall we? Alright, so plain weave should be... Alright, it's not a very big shed. Is something sticking somewhere? Can I not go bigger? Okay, apparently I cannot go bigger. I'm not sure why. We'll worry about that later. But alternating shafts are going up. That's good. I'll try the other way. And the other ones go up. That's also good. Again, not a very big shed. Might have to do with the lengths of the connections. I don't know. But it's working. That's all we care about right now. Alright, let's try the 2x2 12. So this should be 1 and 2 going up. Yes. 2 and 3. Yes. 3 and 4. Yes. 4 and 1. Yes! Okay, there's some imbalance, but honestly I'm very happy with this. could probably weave like this. I don't know, I've never woven before, but I think it's good enough. And it's good enough is good enough. Oh, this is very exciting. I love the sound of all the wood pieces slamming together, all the rope. So yeah, a few more bits to do on the loom, and then we have to get some thread on this thing.